Formex loves big buttons. Bell and Ross will have their fun, and I managed to fit an early 90s hip-hop reference into a story about Fears watches. It's episode 90 of A Week in Watches, a bi-weekly look back at new releases and interesting stories from the watch industry. I'm Zach Weiss, co-founder of Warnerwound, and I'll be your host today. I won't lie, pretty excited about the watches I cover this week. Two feature complications you won't see every day, but thankfully are on the affordable side of the watch spectrum, affordable with a grain of salt. And the last is, well, just fun. This episode is sponsored by Sternglass and their new Naos Pro automatic watch. As a special feature with this release, early buyers can secure theirs with a Golden Miyota 9015 movement, also known as a gilt version. Head to sternglass.com, that's STERNGLAS.com, Sternglass with one S, to check those out. Formex builds a tank for travel. Formex has built up a strong following over the last several years with indie and micro brand enthusiasts by offering a modern aesthetic combined with a unique case construction, great finishing, and solid value. Basically, what enthusiasts love. With that said, it's been a little while since they released a genuinely new model or line, mostly releasing new colors, dials, and case materials, LEs with the likes of, us, and the occasional new size. Well, that's probably because they've been working on something big, and it's finally here. The Formex Stratos UTC. A travel watch meets pilot watch meets a piece of armor plating. The Stratos has a clear aesthetic relationship to Formex's previous watches, namely the Essence, with an angular case measuring 41 by 46.5 by 12 millimeters with short, broad lugs and a generally aggressive, rugged appeal. But this time, with an even greater level of finishing. Directional brushing on all surfaces meets hand-polished bevels on many long edges, and adding a new level of texture are sand-blasted cutouts along the case sides. The bezels also feature a unique index with milled negative spaces filled with color and numerals that connect to the bezel edges. But where this watch really shines is actually in how it works. And the Stratos features an atypical and very cool UTC or GMT complication. Rather than adjusting either the 24-hour hand or local hour hand with the crown, as you would on most GMTs, on the Stratos you do it with the pushers at 2 and 4. A very intuitive method, it prevents any accidental adjusting of the minute hand or date. There's more to it as well. An aperture to the left side of the hands indicates AM/PM for the local time, and there is a small pointer date at 6 that is adjusted with a sunken pusher at around 8. As you might have guessed, this isn't your typical movement. Rather, it's a module by Dubois Duprat on an ETA 2892. The Stratos will be available in green, blue, and gray, all with orange accents and color-matched bezels, all priced at 3,500 Swiss francs or about 4,200 USD. This is a definite step up for Formex, but one that's reflected in the movement and increased case finishing. You know what? I look forward to seeing these at Wind Up Watch Fair. I hope you do too. Chris Ward and Fears will make you jump. Sorry about that, but this next release is very exciting, though it has nothing to do with the chart-topping song Jump by Criss Cross from 1992, which, yes, makes that song over 30 years old, which would have been like listening to early Beatles in the 90s when it first came out. But I digress. We're here to talk about a watch, and yes, it's a jump hour. Back in 2023, the UK's Christopher Ward and Fears watches teamed up for a collaboration called the Fears Christopher Ward Alliance 01. A mix of the two brands, the case and dial, which only featured Fears branding, spoke to their more formal, buttoned-up aesthetic. The 40.5mm cushion case, though made specifically for this watch, calls their well-known Brunswick line to mind. More striking, however, was the burgundy dial, which featured a large aperture at 12 for the hour digit, and a single hand at its center, tracing a minute index that sits only about halfway to the dial's edge. The Christopher Ward contribution lied within in the form of the JJ01 jump hour module developed by the brand, used in conjunction with a Sellita SW200. Altogether, the watch was restrained, elegant, and very, very desirable. But there was a catch. The Fears Christopher Ward Alliance 01 was limited to 50 pieces and only available to club-level members of the British Watch and Clockmakers Alliance, which in fairness is open to everyone, but at that exact moment, had you not been a member with about 4,000 pounds in your pocket and your finger on the mouse button, you were out of luck. Well, Lady Luck's fortune has returned because so has the Jump Hour, now as part of Fears' core collection and available to all. Named the Brunswick 40.5 Jump Hour, the biggest difference between the original and the new models are the colors available, though there are some subtle changes as well. The crown now features the Fears cipher, which is a great looking symbol, and the applied minute track has received a redesign. It is now thicker and bolder, allowing for more space for the printed index, as well as a separation between the numerals and minute marks. This gives the watch a somewhat sportier look that does suit the design. In terms of colors, there is an all-black dial called Raven Black with a mix of sunburst and circular graining, as well as a silver rim around the minute track. It's clean and classic. You can't go wrong with black. But if you're looking for something with a little more oomph, they definitely have you covered. Coral lacquer features a smooth surface of a color that sits between bright orange and a peachy tone. Made of layered, hand-polished lacquer, it looks striking. I can't wait to see this one in person, also at Windup. The applied rings at center are grain black, adding a surprisingly aggressive edge to the design. I get a real, I drive a vintage sports car on the weekends vibe from this one. Lastly is my personal favorite, and unfortunately the only one, and that is a bit harder to get. Mallard Green. A deep, rich green tone inspired by the Drake duck, is a signature color saved for their boutique editions, meaning one must travel to the Fears shop in Bristol, England, should they want this color. Which they should, because it looks amazing. The Brunswick 40.5 jump hour is still made in collaboration with Christopher Ward in that it still uses the JJ01 jump hour module on a Sellita SW200, which is cool, as it's the only watch currently with that module, barring the Bel Canto, which has a modified version of it. It comes on either a 5-link metal bracelet for 3,708 pounds, which is without VAT, which is around 4,880 USD, or on a leather strap for 3,541 pounds, or about 4,660, also without VAT. These are available to order now. Okay, let's talk briefly about the new addition to the Sternglass Naos Automatic family, the Naos Pro Automatic. The Naos Automatic is a favorite among Sternglass watch wearers, so the Pro Automatic is both familiar and fresh. The watch is now 9mm thick, down from 12mm, and comes with the higher quality Miyota 9015 movement. Head to sternglass.com to see the dual-tone Luminova anthracite or alabaster dials and various strap combinations. The first 400 Naos Pro Automatic in alabaster and 300 in anthracite will feature gilt Miyota 9015s. The second series will feature the same movement in standard silver color. The Naos Pro Automatic is available now and starts at $799 USD in the Sternglass shop at sternglass.com. Bell & Ross are instrumental. Bell & Ross tend to get a mixed response from the enthusiast crowd these days, but one thing no one can fault them on is not sticking to their guns. Bell & Ross has been doing what Bell & Ross does, whether you like it or not, and they seem to have fun doing it. I mean, they made a watch with a fully loomed ceramic case that costs over $13K. That's absurd and yet somehow admirable, and I kind of really like it. Anyway, the core Bell & Ross watch is their BR03, their iconic square aviation watch based on instrument panel designs. Once again, love it or leave it, but it's certainly unmistakable. While most BR03s are pretty straightforward in terms of dial design, big numerals, hands, etc., the brand has always been willing to have some fun with the platform as well. This is best seen in their series that transforms the dial from the standard to a simulation of something that would or could actually be found on some planes. The BR0392 Red Radar comes to mind, which, as the name would suggest, looks like a radar display with circling planes for the hours and minutes and a long sweep hand for the seconds. It always makes me think about Spaceballs.
The radar, sir. It appears to be jammed.
Well, Bell & Ross has announced a new model that continues this theme with the BR03 Horizon, which simulates an artificial horizon indicator in a plane. A simple enough premise, the indicator shows the plane's position relative to the Earth, i.e. parallel or at an angle, knowing which way is up and down. For the watch, they took this graphically simple tool and transposed it quite literally and logically to the dial. The surface of the dial, which is bisected with blue and black regions for the sky and Earth, is actually the hour hand. The minute hand is a white stick, and the seconds is a full dial width stick in black that is half striped. There is a simple fixed index along the edge to indicate hours and minutes, and on the back of the crystal is a line that runs across the dial from 3 to 9, dipping at the center. This is meant to represent the plane. At 12, the plane is parallel to the Earth. At 6, it's upside down, and between, it's at some sort of a steep bank. For a pilot instrument watch, it seems like such an obvious idea as the components and desired effect line up so well with the basic functions of a watch. Plus, it's a very simple looking gauge in an appealing and graphic way. It's attractive. Now, I would be curious to hear from a pilot as to whether or not seeing on your wrist that your plane is upside down or in some sort of barrel roll would be anxiety inducing, but for us aviation laymen, it's just a fun and somewhat clever play on a pilot's watch. The BR03 Horizon features a 41mm black ceramic case and is a limited edition of 99 pieces, priced at $4,600. And that's a wrap for episode 90 of A Week in Watches. We'd like to thank Sternglass for sponsoring this episode. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. It helps out our channel. And also be sure to check out wornandwound.com daily for more great watch content. We'll see you next time.